How many of you guys have played Grand Theft Auto 3? I'm talking about the original one, not the definitive edition that came out a few years ago, the one that came out for the PlayStation 2 and original Xbox on October 22nd, 2001. And the reason I pose that question is some people might have become GTA fans later on and started with either 4 or 5, or might not have even been old enough or even born to play the game when it was released. And for those of you guys that have played Grand Theft Auto 3 on its original consoles, has this ever happened to you? Well, now we know the real reason why, and the reason behind one of the most frustrating issues that you would come across while playing this game. We'll be talking about all of that in this video today, and a whole lot more. So this comes from a former Grand Theft Auto 3 developer who says that Rockstar Games was forced to actually slow the player down as they cruised through Liberty City's most densely populated area in an attempt to solve the game's, quote, hardest technical challenge. And that former Rockstar Games developer is Obi Vermeij, who has taken to social media a lot over the last couple of months and years to talk about Grand Theft Auto games that he's worked on and is offering a rare peek behind the Rockstar Games curtain. And this time, he's talking about the hardest technical challenge that GTA 3's developers had to deal with. It was one of the biggest and most ambitious open world games at the time, and Obi says that there was no way we could fit the whole map of GTA 3 in the PS2 memory. And so in order to get around that, he said that fellow developer Adam Fowler set to work on the hardest technical challenge during the development of GTA 3. So this is what Obi's post on social media looked like. There was no way we could fit the whole map of GTA 3 in PS2 memory. Streaming includes loading models from the DVD as the player moves around. This was the hardest technical challenge during the development of GTA 3 and was coded by Adam Fowler. The closer that models physically are on the DVD, the faster they are loaded. This is because the DVD needs to accelerate/decelerate as the head moves to a different track. Adam tried to place models that were close together in the city, also close together on the DVD. He also experimented with repeating commonly used files. Even after placing models on the DVD efficiently, it was still not fast enough. Players would see the low detailed versions of buildings, and sometimes the road was missing. At some point, we couldn't speed the streaming up any further. We had no option but to slow the player down. Portland initially had a big drag running all along the island. This is a worst case scenario. The player could go fast and there was loads of buildings to load, so the artist changed the road layout to slow the player down. In other problem areas, we increased the drag or air resistance on the vehicles about 5% or so. Hardly noticeable, but it helped. The streaming issues were the main reason we couldn't let the player fly in GTA 3 other than with the Dodo. Streaming was also used for vehicle models, NPCs, and music, but the map posed the greatest difficulty because of the amount of data. As models got loaded onto memory and then removed, the memory would fragment into smaller and smaller blocks. Adam's code constantly moved models around to fix this. This was tricky as models sometimes had to be moved while they could be rendered. For Vice City, various code improvements were made, better compression of models and textures, smarter code that would load the detailed versions of buildings only if the player was not flying. Streaming issues tend to get worse with older DVDs and older PlayStation 2s. So essentially what the developers at Rockstar Games had to do was basically slow the player down, and they did so in a number of different ways. The first was increasing the air resistance by 5%, which also was one of the reasons why there was only a very limited ability to fly in Grand Theft Auto 3, but they also tried to slow the player down, and they did so by having to adjust the layout of Portland in-game. And although he doesn't explain exactly how it changed, there's a pair of interstate junctions in the center of the city that seem to bear the scars of this alteration. And I just love getting these sort of behind-the-scenes details at Rockstar Games because these are some of the things they don't end up sharing. And there's more regarding Grand Theft Auto 3 that Obi actually explains. He explains the mystery of GTA 3's 3 moons. So Obi has also revealed why the moon changes sizes in Grand Theft Auto 3. In case you guys don't know, the moon in GTA 3 will actually change sizes whenever the player shoots it with a sniper rifle. And this was always one of the weirder things in those classic GTA games that no one really knew about and why it happened until now. And again, this was also explained on his social media page. The artist gave me a texture for the moon in GTA 3. I placed the moon in the sky, made sure it was visible at night, and that it was a reasonable size. A few days later, 4 artists were at my desk asking me to change the size of the moon. No problem, I said. It turned out they couldn't decide what size of the moon should be. 2 of them wanted it smaller to be more realistic. The other 2 wanted it to be larger to be more cinematic. This went on a bit, and I suggested to make the size of the moon changeable in the game. This way, they could decide in their own time and let me know the conclusion. Since I was working on the sniper rifle, I made it so that the moon toggled through 3 sizes, small, medium, and large, as the player sniped it. The artist never got back to me, so I just left it in. It was still there in GTA San Andreas. And Obi also goes on to say that he isn't responsible for the moon having different phases in San Andreas, which he points out in a response to a post on social media. The developer also reveals in another post that the definitive edition of GTA 3 in San Andreas kept the 3 presets for the moon in for some inexplicable reason. Maybe someone at Rockstar Games wanted to keep the feature alive. And honestly, just given how much of a disaster those games were at launch with all the bugs, the glitches, how unpolished everything was, it wouldn't be surprising if Rockstar Games, and probably more importantly in the spotlight here, Grove Street Games, didn't even think about it. They were probably worried about so many other things, trying to get the game out of the door. I can honestly say if I was a betting man, if Rockstar had to redo this game, the definitive edition this time around, there probably would be some changes, and maybe the moon would have been one of them. So that right there should give you a pretty good idea on some of the biggest mysteries in Grand Theft Auto 3, the first 3D era GTA title. If you want me to cover more sort of behind the scenes, interesting details, secrets, and programming bits and clues that Obi has cataloged over the last couple of months on social media, definitely let me know in those comments down below, and I'll be sure to do more fun videos like this as the wait for GTA 6 continues. He actually had a blog post up for the longest time, but I think Rockstar actually told him to take that down, so now he's basically just doing things on his own on social media, which is just so cool because we're able to get really a behind-the-scenes view of Rockstar Games. And sometimes he posts stuff that aren't even about the video games themselves, but more about his time at Rockstar and the people that made these games. Like, for example, he posted this photograph. This was the development team behind GTA 3. This would have been in about 2000 or 2001 in Edinburgh, Scotland, and it's just so cool to see retro photographs like this. And this is the guys that brought Grand Theft Auto 3 to life. So it's just so cool to see stuff like this being posted because Rockstar Games is so unlike this. They rarely talk about this. They rarely give us a behind-the-scenes look. So not only is this so rare, but as a fan of GTA and Rockstar like myself, it's super cool to see. So again, let me know what you guys think in those comments down below. I would love to hear from you guys down there. If you guys did go to enjoy this video, though, a like rating would, of course, be awesome. And be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you are new. You want to stay up to date on all the GTA videos that I'll be doing here on my channel. And be sure to ring that notification bell as well. Sometimes YouTube just doesn't work, and if you ring that bell, you'll always be guaranteed to be notified when new videos arrive. But of course, as always, guys, thank you all so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you guys in the next video.